It's every problem drinker's greatest fantasy to learn how to control and enjoy their drinking at the same time. It's still mine. I've definitely thought that I'd figured out how to drink socially before. It's something that I thought I'd gotten totally pegged. I bought books on drinking normally. This many days, this many drinks, how many drinks are you allowed to drink? I could save them up and not, if it's 14 for the week, I could try to do them all in one night. I bought books trying to prove that I had figured out how to drink socially, and I convinced myself that it was normal to do that. I think I was probably 19 years old when I first had that thought that maybe alcohol was a problem for me. That something might be wrong, that perhaps I was thinking about it a little too often, and I was planning my life around it a little too much, and it was starting to take a little bit more than it was giving. It was kind of a blurry line, but somewhere I noticed that people were progressing in their lives and I wasn't. I was sort of in like this muted state when I thought I should be, doing something. And I got sober and I wanted people's approval for that. And I thought that was what I needed to do around like 19, 20 years old. And then I turned 21 and it was the very first time I experienced this phenomenon of bargaining with myself and trying to rationalize why I should be able to go back and drink socially. Why, when people told me that I never would be able to based on my behavior as a drinker, why they were wrong. And why I'd be able to go back and prove to them. It was so important for me to prove to other people, particularly my parents, that I wasn't a real alcoholic, that it was a phase in my life, and that the consequences that I was experiencing mentally, emotionally, financially, physically, they were circumstantial. The power of denial is incredible. It's incredible. I checked myself into all 3 of my rehabs on my own, but after the second one, the fact that I was able to look my wife in the eye and tell her I thought that things would be different after having checked myself, kicking and screaming into rehab, because in tears and in snot telling my wife, something wrong with me, I'm broken, I can't stop drinking, I'll never stop drinking. I gave her the most insane behavior nightly leading up to my second rehab, got out of rehab, drank immediately, look her in the eye and say, everything's fine, it'll be different. It's wild to even think about. It's wild to even think about. The thing, I was the type of drinker who would I'm having all these memories. Here's my social drinking. It was my birthday after I'd relapsed and I'm out in my addiction again. I tell myself I'm super excited. I go to the gym, I have a big workout with my friends. We do CrossFit, so we CrossFitted. I bring shots in. We're all gonna do shots after that, so we take the shots. I invite everyone out to dinner. I'm gonna have a couple cocktails with people out to dinner, but you know what I'm thinking about the entire time? The entire fucking time. I could not wait to get home and Jesse to go to bed so I could get more drunk alone. And right before I leave the restaurant, my best friend goes, dude, I just cleared it with my lady. I'm gonna come spend the night with you. We're gonna party all night, you and me. I was fucking livid and miserable. This is just me. I was miserable from that point on. Didn't have the courage or the honesty to say, don't want you to be there because I'm still trying to save face, right? I'm still putting so much energy into not being what I really am. So I don't tell him no. He comes over to hang out for the night and I resent the fact that he's there because all I want to do is get hammered on my own. And I couldn't even enjoy it after that. I'd rather be alone. I wanted to be alone so bad so I could get as drunk as I really wanted to be because I was so used to being inauthentic. I was so used to being fake with people. I was so used to putting on masks and putting on a front instead of just being ugly and broken and doing what I really wanted. Something I was convinced was that if I could prove to other people that I wasn't abusing alcohol for a stretch of time, it meant that I wasn't a real alcoholic. And here's the fucked up thing. Here's what's not true. And I think a lot of younger people deny this, and I think a lot of people in denial, period, about having a bad relationship, an unhealthy relationship, and an ultimately fucking unproductive and fun relationship. It's not that fun anymore when you have this sort of strange obsession with something. I just think I haven't talked about enough, and I think people won't acknowledge enough, is that if you're planning your life around not drinking, that essentially just proves that you have a problem with the thing that you're constantly thinking about. That's not freedom. That's not being authentic. That's being genuinely in bondage because you're building your whole life around something that you're trying not to do just to have the opportunity to do it in a way that you don't necessarily even want to, because you'd rather just be doing it hard, but you're trying not to prove to someone else or maybe to yourself that you're probably okay. So that is called bondage. That's called being imprisoned to a substance. And if you're not using it, you're thinking about it. So you may as well, it's got you permanently anyway. And that's a miserable space to be in. I mean, it's a genuinely shitty space to be in, because not only are you not doing what you think you want to be doing or what your brain chemistry is telling you you want to be doing, which is to chase dopamine and get fucked up, but you're also not present to enjoy the moment you're actually in. I know I wasn't. It's just a fact. I was with you, but I wasn't there. Right now, if you really want to, you can drink, but what you have to contend with, what you have to figure out is who's wanting what. What part of you is the want? Is it the real you? Or is it just you being addicted and then just being in a mode? Because that's what I was living in every day, 24/7 cycle, 365. So who's choosing? Because there were nights where I'd beg myself not to do it and then I would do it. So thinking about like personal choice and advocacy, it's like, dude, if you're really being honest, you're probably not even choosing anymore. It's being chosen for you. Your brain's in one of those disease states. What's really freaky and annoying, and this bothered me enough to kind of motivate me, was that I wanted that choice back. I wanted that choice back. And so now I think a lot less about like what I might be missing out on in drinking socially. And I think about how much I'm positive I missed out on trying to experience anything socially in my disease, drinking or not. Like now when I'm social and I'm with people, I actually want to be there. I'm motivated by things that are real and tangible in my mind, physiologically speaking, intuitively, emotionally. It's all very real and authentic. That fires me the fuck up. That makes me really, really happy and calm and content because I had one motivating factor before. So yeah, right now I'm choosing to drink this tasty Diet Coke, which does have some caffeine, which does feel fairly good. And I could choose right now to get back on the insanity train, but I'd have to acknowledge and I'd have to surrender the fact that I would not have true ownership over my thoughts, my actions, and my abilities anymore. And so I think even when I contemplate, because my producer and my buddy here is wanting me to talk about rationalizing being able to maybe drink socially someday, like it was never that social. It really wasn't. Maybe in the early days it was, but at the end, like the idea of drinking socially sounds fucking terrible. It sounds miserably boring and inauthentic. It all felt pretty hollow at the end. I used to tell my counselor that I didn't really see the point in being back in rehab because in my experience, relapse was inevitable. I was always gonna go back. I was destined to be a drinker. And I took extreme toxic ownership over this persona that was always gonna be miserable and always gonna fail. And I struggled to reality test situations. I convinced myself of a lot of lies that I had no proof of. And the truth is, you're kind of under a spell. You're not wide awake right now, and you deserve to be. But you gotta work for it, you gotta fight for it. And it's worth that fight. But I know how unfortunate it is to be in that hopeless state. Days are long. I mean, minutes feel like hours, hours feel like days, days feel like weeks, weeks feel like months. I could keep doing that, but that's really the reality of discomfort. And you want relief, and you're gonna get it. It just needs to come from different ways. It will come in different ways. It has for me. And it took a lot of time and convincing and discomfort to believe otherwise. I thought that I would never feel good again. I thought that I would never find contentment and a consistent mood, frankly, when I got sober. And it was something that I was constantly talking to people about in sobriety, was saying, listen, if I'm gonna feel miserable anyway, if I'm gonna be anxious and feel down and feel flat and feel foggy and apathetic, I may as well drink. I used to justify my behavior, my toxic, dangerous, repetitive behavior with this sort of language, looking for anyone to co-sign it. The real fear I have of missing out is on actually experiencing real world, real life. I think everyone who's in their addiction, myself included 9 months ago, yeah, the miss out isn't the drugs or the alcohol. The miss out is real life, having a real authentic experience, but the shitty thing is it's probably gonna hurt for a while. And I'm sorry about that, because there's really no way around it. And you are gonna have to contend with being uncomfortable in your own skin, and you're not gonna be used to your thoughts, and you're not gonna be used to regulating your emotions, and sleep will be disturbed, and your sensitivity to people, places, and things will be heightened, and your discomfort will go up with that exponentially for a little while. And And that's the part that's really tough. So a lot of times the choice to go back is really just the fear of integrating, the fear of sitting in your own discomfort for a while and letting your brain heal. I wish I could sugarcoat to people though, I wish I could sugarcoat the fact that sometimes it's just gonna be fucking awful. Sometimes you're just gonna be down, sad, tired, angry, emotional, volatile, insecure, helpless, hopeless. You're gonna have all of those things. They're gonna come, go, come, go, come, go. And it's no wonder we drink and use so much. It's no wonder why we're contemplating going back to our DOC, or wondering if we'll ever be able to do it socially. Because learning how to live without it at first is just the worst, man. It just fucking sucks. But once you get past that part of it, holy shit is it nice. Brent, one of our directors at the rehab I was in was like, what are your intentions and motivations behind anything you do? And half the time I didn't even know. Like I wasn't even clear with myself what I wanted. Even searching a video like this, maybe like, will I ever drink socially again? Hoping to find someone to what? Say the right thing to validate something I already know, which is that I haven't been drinking healthy for a long time. It's like, you should at least tell me the truth. At the end of my drinking, I thought I wanted to leave my wife, go live in a trailer alone by the coast, cut myself off from everyone because I was convinced that I was a hopeless alcoholic and I may as well stop trying to fake it to everyone. Turns out I was wrong about that too, but at least I admitted that that's what I thought, you know?